Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy from Cichlid Bros. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on my 75-gallon aquarium. I currently have a mix of Central and South American cichlids in that tank. In today's video, I'm going to show the updated aquascape, the brand new equipment upgrades that I have on that tank, and then I had one of my cichlids lay a ton of eggs and cause quite a bit of chaos in that tank. We're going to show all of that in today's video, but before we do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And guys, let's dive right in. Before we get to the 75-gallon aquarium, let's do quick updates on the two tanks behind me here. So here's the 180-gallon South American cichlid tank. Everyone's doing really well, looking healthy, growing really fast. All the geotopahos just popping with color. This group of 7 that I've had for over 2 years just continue to grow and put on more and more color each day. And I have my Geophagus steindachnerai. It's a female. Of course, I got my Oscar here, who's coming up on a year old, but it's already put on a lot of size. And my chocolate cichlid Bigfoot, my true parrot Blue.
You're my boy, Blue!
My turquoise Severum, Big Red, the red spot Severum, or just the gold Severum.
His voice got high.
Now my red shoulder Severum here, slowly coloring up with that red shoulder. Feel like I say that in every video. My ball shark Bruce, and electric blue Acara back there. Let's check out the saltwater tank real quick. This tank is doing really well. I still have the makeshift tote lids, which are driving me kind of crazy, but I have a custom made lid coming this week, and I'm going to be adding some new fish once I have that lid, and I'm going to be adding a protein skimmer. I actually have 2 different protein skimmer options here. I've gone back and forth on which one I'm going to use, but I'm going to set up the skimmer, add fish, and that custom lid in a video very soon. So now let's go around the corner here. 75-gallon aquarium. And actually, before we get to that tank, let's just do a quick update on the shell dweller tank. This tank has just exploded in terms of breeding, and I probably have about 30 different babies in this tank. Here's a big group of them. These guys are about 3 to 4 weeks old now, but I also have some younger fry in this tank as well. This is the first group that I saw hatch in this tank, and that was only after about a week of being set up. So I think my water parameters are just ideal for these guys, and they reproduce very quickly as it is. So this is going to be a really productive tank, I think, and I can't wait to see it grow. So I wanted to give the 75-gallon kind of a facelift, and that started by changing out the piece of driftwood on the left. That is a fake piece of driftwood from PetSmart. I've just had it for multiple years, and I wanted a different look in this tank. I picked up a really nice piece of driftwood from my local fish store, and I was going to change that out to give a more natural look to this aquarium. I removed and added the driftwood during my typical water change process, and during my water changes I also skim the sand. A lot of people ask how I keep my sand clean, and I just do this regularly. I then removed the old piece of driftwood here. The piece of driftwood I got from my local fish store had a slate piece of bottom to weight it down, but I still wanted to soak this in water for about a week to make sure I got the tannins out and to make sure the piece of driftwood stayed submerged. So when it was time to add this piece of driftwood to the tank, I moved a lot of the sand out of the way, and this clouded the water a lot, but after I turned on the filters later on, it cleared up within about an hour, so no big deal there. Once I got this piece of driftwood in place, I already really loved the new look. The driftwood blended in with the other pieces of wood I had in this tank to give this tank just a cohesive look, and it also looked a little more natural, the true color of wood versus fake wood. Then it was time to fill up the tank. turn on the filters. I also added Kimi Pure Green to this aquarium since I have a few plants, and if you follow this channel for any length of time, you know I love Kimi Pure products. It really puts the cherry on top in terms of water clarity, and I'll leave those in the description below if you're interested.
3 weeks later.
So only a few weeks after adding the driftwood, I noticed some weird behavior happening with the Nicaraguan cichlid here chasing everyone away. And after I looked a little bit closer, I noticed she had laid eggs in the little pit of the driftwood. This Nicaraguan cichlid, also known as the Macaw Cichlid, can be a little bit aggressive, especially when they're spawning, and this female is no different. She's been chasing everyone away from this area, and it's kind of in the middle of the tank, so everyone's kind of pushed to the sides. Luckily, this only lasted for a few days while she had these eggs in the tank. I knew I had a female here because she had a ton of color, and an interesting thing about the Nicaraguan cichlid is that the females get a ton of color, whereas the males don't get quite as much color, and they do get more of the nuchal hump than the females. Nicaraguan cichlids are pit spawners, so they do dig quite a lot, especially the females. And if you have sand or gravel and you have a Nicaraguan, you may see them completely digging out areas of your sand. And that's been no different for mine over the past year. She's always destroying my aquascape. But when I added this piece of driftwood, I inadvertently gave her a perfect little pit to lay her eggs. That's exactly what she did, and it was only within a couple weeks of adding this piece into the tank. Nicaraguan cichlids are from Central America, so if you're trying to breed them, usually it's best to have kind of a neutral pH. My natural water in my area is a higher pH and higher water hardness, so this naturally worked well for the Nicaraguan in comparison to some of my South American cichlids that prefer some of the softer water and lower water hardness. Also, Nicaraguan cichlids' eggs are not adhesive, so some other Central Americans that are similar will actually be able to lay their eggs on the glass or other vertical pieces of decor. Nicaraguans are pit spawners, so all the eggs will usually be down in one little spot in the tank. And although she was being a great parent and watching over the eggs, there were still a lot of cichlids in this tank that were very interested, including the Geophagus spini. I have 3 in this tank. Along with my Synodontis petricola, I have 2 of these catfish, and they hardly ever come out. But as soon as these eggs were out, interestingly enough, they came out pretty much all day, and I think they were just hunting for the eggs that they knew were in the tank. Okay, so the next upgrade we have here is a brand new wavemaker. As you can see, I have a little bubbler. It's an air stone down in the back corner. Don't really love the bubbles coming up. It's just a personal preference. And the air pump itself is kind of old and making some noise. You can kind of hear that hum right now. So I'm going to replace that with a wavemaker pointed upwards, so it accomplishes the same goal as the bubbler of providing oxygen to the water. It's not the bubbles themselves that provides the oxygenation, it's actually breaking of the surface tension, while the wavemaker pointed upwards can actually break the surface tension even more, providing that oxygenation and also providing water movement among other benefits to this tank. Okay, here we have everything out of the box, super simple. We have the pump here, we have the cord cover, and then we have the anti-vibration case. Let's get it on the tank. Okay, I got the pump in place. I got it directed upwards, so when I plug it in, a lot of the surface agitation will just increase exponentially. And there we go. Look at all that flow and all that surface agitation. That's just awesome. Okay guys, I hope you like seeing the updates on the 75-gallon aquarium. I'm really liking the new aquascape. The flow in this tank, as you can see right there, is just crazy with the C-shaped pump. It's actually on the higher end for this size aquarium. I underestimated the power of the C-shaped pump, so I could always move that pump to my 180 if I feel like the flow is too much for the fish in this aquarium. Overall, I just can't wait to see the growth and evolution of all the fish in this aquarium, as most of these fish will be showstoppers as adults when they fully color up. So can't wait for that, and I'll be sure to share on the channel as they grow. One other thing on this room in general is that it is an unfinished room, and I would like to add something behind the tanks, whether it's curtains or something to put up that looks a little better than just the unfinished walls. So there might be an actual update when I'm kind of creating a real fish room. But for now, I'm just enjoying this tank as it currently is. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.